Hey everyone, this is Chase of Rocky Mountain ATV giving you a closer look at the V4 steering stabilizer from GPR. All right everyone, thanks for checking in. Today we're giving you a closer look at the V4 steering stabilizer from GPR. So GPR stands for Grand Prix Racing. These guys have been around for a while. They make very high quality products. And steering stabilizers in general are a very popular upgrade that a lot of riders like to make. Whether you're a dirt bike rider, whether you're dual sport, you're adventure riding, they can benefit all different types of disciplines. And what these are designed to do is just give more stability to the rider and their bike. Now, if you're not too familiar with a steering stabilizer or a steering damper, there's a couple key things that they do. First and foremost, these will help give more stability when you're riding at higher speeds. I'm sure a lot of you have heard the term head shake, or maybe you've experienced that before. I know I have. There's not too many things scarier than when you're riding a dirt bike, especially at high speeds, and you get head shake. And what head shake is, it just describes that sensation of when your handlebars start to swap back and forth violently, and sometimes it's so violent you feel like your bar is going to rip out of your hands, and a lot of times head shake does result in a crash. It is not a good thing to have. Now, head shake can be caused by having a poor suspension setup on your motorcycle, but a lot of times it's caused just from going at higher speeds through rough, choppy terrain. You know, with modern dirt bikes these days, your head angle is steeper. It's going to help with cornering, but you can sacrifice a little stability to get better cornering out of a dirt bike. And that is why you see so many riders, especially off-road racers, that are running a steering stabilizer. And the way that they help give more stability and control that head shake is they help slow down that movement. So when you're riding at higher speeds and your handlebars want to deflect and they want to start going and jolt side to side, this will slow down that movement so it's not so violent, and it helps you get your handlebars back to center and help you maintain that control. And the way they work is actually very similar to your shock absorber on your bike. You have valving inside here, or you have a circuit, and oil is passing through that circuit, and as it passes through, again, it helps slow down that movement of your handlebars turning. But remember, it doesn't have to just be for high speed when you're going really fast on a dirt bike or whatever bike you're riding. They're also beneficial for low speed movements as well. So you got to think, if you're doing some trail riding, some technical riding, even though you're not traveling at higher speeds, you can still hit an object like a rock or a root and have your front tire deflect left or right. So you still have a high speed movement as far as your handlebars are concerned, and this will also help dampen those. So that's why steering dampers are so awesome to have. Again, just more stability. Doesn't matter what type of riding that you're doing, they can benefit a lot of different riders that are out there. So now that you know why steering stabilizers are popular and what they do, how they work, let's just talk about the V4 specifically and what makes this one unique. So first and foremost, with the V4, what I like about this is the simplicity of it. And it's got a nice low profile design. Now I'll talk about mounting real quickly. You know, mounting with these is actually not that difficult. They are bike specific, so when you're picking yours up, be sure to enter the correct make, model, and year when you're picking yours up. But these come with a sub mount. And what's great about this kit is that it mounts underneath your handlebars. A common question that riders ask is, how much rise will it add to my handlebars? You're looking at about a 1/2 inch to 3/4 of an inch added rise to your setup, depending on the bike and the setup that you have now. But if you feel like, this added too much rise to my handlebars, a way that you can kind of counteract that is if you go with a handlebar that has less rise to it. So there are ways to get around that. But as far as install goes, we have a great how-to video, shows you step by step how to do it. It's honestly a job that I feel most riders can do as long as you have the correct tools to do the job. But low profile, and here's what I like too, simplicity. This is, I think, a big selling point for the GPR is you only have one dial. So when you get this and you have it set up, to get it fine-tuned, you only have to worry about turning one dial. There are some other steering stabilizers on the market that are great, but they have more adjustability, and sometimes that might leave the rider feeling lost, like they don't know what they should be adjusting or how to get that set up properly. So with the V4, you just have one dial, and it's going to come right from the factory. So one is your easiest setting, and what I mean by that is, like I mentioned earlier, the way this works is you have one moving part inside the V4, and you can and it's a circuit that oil is passing through. So as you turn this dial and you go from one and you work your way up, what you're doing is you're essentially closing off that circuit and making it harder for oil to pass through, and that will give you more damping. And what's cool about this though is that even at the setting of one, and this is important, like I mentioned earlier, you've got your high and your low speed movements. A high-speed movement is when your handlebars jerk suddenly. So you deflect off an object or you're riding at high speeds, and as you start to get that head shake, that's a high-speed movement. A low-speed movement is when you're on the bike and maybe you're just cruising and you just turn the bars with your own strength, or maybe imagine just sitting on your bike on a stand, you're turning the handlebars. That's a low-speed movement. And what's cool about the V4 is that it can simultaneously sense if it's a low or a high-speed movement. So you're getting both low speed and high speed damping by just turning this one dial. Now, if you're at a setting of 1, you're probably not going to feel anything when you just turn the handlebars by yourself. That's totally fine, because even with a setting of 1, it will still help with that high speed damping. But a common mistake that a lot of riders make, and I was talking to GPR about this, is they say that a lot of riders will just crank this thing all the way up to say 6, 7, or 8. What you want to do when you're setting this up initially is you want to turn it and get it to a point where as you're turning the handlebars with your own strength, you can feel it damping. And then from there, you want to go back a couple. So if you go to 6 and you can feel like you're kind of fighting against the damping a little bit, back it down to say 4, and then start there. That's kind of what they recommend as far as the starting point goes. But what's nice about this is that you can adjust this on the fly. So if you're riding and you want more damping or you want less, then you can simply just turn it, and that's going to make it very easy. But you just want to make sure that you have a setting that it's still working for you, so it's absorbing that, it's dampening those movements, but you're not fighting it, you're not working against it when you're just trying to steer the motorcycle. So just keep that in mind when you set this up. But another cool feature about this is that it will start damping at 1 degree. So basically, as soon as your handlebars start to turn, it's going to start working for you. And that's what you want. You want this thing to start absorbing those movements and slowing that down, that millisecond that it happens. So as soon as your tire deflects, you want it to slow down that movement for you. So it's going to dampen from 1 degree all the way till your handlebars are basically all the way turned left or to the right. So it's going to dampen that entire movement for you. So it's a really cool setup, works really well. Again, super popular upgrade that a lot of riders like to make. So if you are looking for more stability, maybe you've been out riding, you experience head shake, it freaked you out a little bit, and you're thinking, whoa, how can I avoid that? How can I not have that happen to me in the future? Steering stabilizer is one of the best routes to take to make that happen for you. But also remember, like I said, it could be your suspension setup, the way your bike is handling. So be sure that is definitely something that you want to consider as well. But in any case, steering stabilizers, they work great. And if you do have questions or comments about the V4 or steering dampers in general, we want to get those questions answered. So make sure to leave your questions, your feedback below. I would love to hear from you if you have one of these or even another brand. I'd love to hear your experience, why you put one on there, and what you've experienced while having it on your motorcycle. Orders over $75 ship free. To pick one of these up, you can click on the link or head over to RockyMountainatvmc.com. I mentioned it earlier, but I'll say it again, they're bike specific, so be sure to enter the year, make, and model. Also, last thing, these are only built for an oversized handlebar, so 1 1/8. If you have a 7/8 handlebar right now and you're buying this kit, you are going to need to go up to an oversized bar. Just remember that. But in any case, again, leave your questions below. We'll get those answered. If you like this product spotlight, we got a lot more just like it, so make sure to get subscribed to the Rocky Mountain YouTube channel and stay up to date. I am Chase, and we'll see you on the trails.